Africa is the origin of human beings. But the people of this land have suffered a lot. It was the Arabs who first began to sell slaves on a large scale. But with the age of sail, Africa entered another era of suffering, and a large number of people from the African continent were transported as slaves to all parts of the world, especially the Americas. From the 16th to the 19th centuries, the slave trade lasted about 4 centuries. It is currently estimated that between 1650 and 1900, about 12 million slaves were transported from Africa to the Americas. If the more than 10 million deaths by shipping are included, the African population loss data can reach 30 million. Except for a few countries such as Austria, Poland and Russia, almost all European countries and the United States have successively participated in this evil activity. This video reviews and introduces the top 7 countries that participated in the black slave trade with the largest scale during the Atlantic slave trade, and the current socio-economic situation of some affected representative African countries. According to the history of the Atlantic slave trade, Denmark is ranked 7th. From 1514 to 1866, Danish ships transported 103,988 slaves. The Danish slave trade occurred in 2 periods, the Viking Age from the 8th to the 10th century, and the Atlantic slave trade from the 16th to the 19th century. Denmark passed a law abolishing the slave trade in 1792, which did not go into effect until January 1, 1803. However, the illegal trade of enslaved Africans continued. Until July 1848, all unfree people on Danish soil were emancipated. Below is a comparison of the current socio-economic situation in Denmark, a participant in the slave trade, and the country represented as a victim of the slave trade. The United Nations Development Programme has released the Human Development Index since 1990 to measure the social and economic development of countries. Denmark ranks 12th in the Human Development Index out of 186 countries in 2022. The current nominal GDP per capita in Denmark is $67,218. This video refers to the nominal GDP per capita as GDP per capita. The average life expectancy in 2021 is 81.1 years. The 2022 Global Happiness Index ranks number 2 out of 146 countries or regions in the world. The slaves traded in Denmark mainly came from countries in current West Africa, such as Ghana. Ghana ranks 139th in the Human Development Index in 2022. Ghana's per capita GDP in 2020 is $2,206. Its life expectancy in 2021 is 62 years, and it ranks 111th in the Global Happiness Index in 2022. Number 6, United States. From 1514 to 1866, U.S. ships transported 377,613 black slaves. In 1619, about 19 of the first African slaves arrived in the United States. Until the American Civil War, the North won, and then the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was promulgated in December 1865, which finally officially abolished slavery in the United States. In general, the role of the U.S. in the entire slave trade was mainly a buyer, not a seller. The Native American slave population peaked at 4 million before emancipation. In 2022, the U.S. Human Development Index ranks 16th, and the U.S. GDP per capita is expected to reach $75,000. The average life expectancy in the United States is 79.05 years. The United States ranks 16th on the Global Happiness Index. The black slaves sold in the United States mainly came from Central and Western Africa, such as what is now the Republic of Angola. In 2022, Angola is ranked 146th in the Human Development Index, with an estimated GDP per capita of $2,276 and a life expectancy of 61.1 years in 2021. In 2018, it is ranked 142nd in the Global Happiness Index. Number 5, Spain. From 1514 to 1866, Spanish ships sold 568,654 black slaves. King Charles V of Spain approved the African slave trade in 1518 and began sending African slaves to Brazil. Spain abolished slavery in Puerto Rico in 1873. As the Spanish colony Cuba did not achieve complete abolition of slavery until the 1880s. In 2022, Spain is ranked 25th in the Human Development Index. The GDP per capita in 2021 was $32,000. The average life expectancy was 83.74 years. It is ranked 29th in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. Nigeria, one of the source countries of black slaves, ranks 155 on the Human Development Index. In 2021, the per capita GDP is $2,360, and the average life expectancy is 60.87 years. It ranks 118th in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. Number 4, Netherlands. From 1514 to 1866, Dutch ships sold 596,862 black slaves. The beginning of the Dutch transatlantic slave trade dates back to 1636. On July 1, 1863, the Netherlands became one of the last countries to abolish slavery. The Netherlands is ranked 10th on the Human Development Index in 2022. GDP per capita in 2021 is $58,147. The average life expectancy in 2021 is 82.49 years. It ranks 5th in the Global Happiness Index in 2022. The source of its black slaves mainly comes from Central and West Africa, such as the present Republic of Benin. Its 2022 Human Development Index ranking is 160. The 2021 GDP per capita is $1,220, and the average life expectancy is 62.22 years. It ranks 115th in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. Number 3, France. From 1514 to 1866, French ships sold 1,309,424 black slaves. The first French slave trade voyages date back to the second half of the 16th century. In 1685, Louis XIV promulgated the Black Code, which legalized the slave trade in France, until the complete abolition of slavery in 1848. France ranks 27 in the Human Development Index in 2022. In 2021, the per capita GDP is $42,600, and the average life expectancy is 82.86 years. It is ranked 20th on the Global Happiness Index in 2022. Its black slaves came from its African colonies, such as what is now the Republic of Senegal. Senegal's 2022 Human Development Index ranking is 163. In 2021, the per capita GDP is $1,380, and the average life expectancy is 68.31 years. It ranks 103rd in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. Number 2, United Kingdom. Between 1514 and 1866, British ships sold 3,088,776 black slaves. The slave trade was an important reason why Britain became the British Empire in the 17th and 18th centuries. Although slaves have been illegal in the British mainland since 1102, there was no clear legal provision in the United Kingdom that prohibited the use of slaves within the British Empire, and even encouraged the overseas slave trade in certain periods. For example, due to the success of the slave trade, Elizabeth I specially knighted Hawkins and awarded him a coat of arms as a reward. In the 18th century, the British had established a set of transatlantic slave trade mechanisms. In 1807, Britain abolished slavery. However, slavery was not abolished in the British overseas territories until 1834. For the current UK, the 2022 Human Development Index ranking is 15. The 2021 GDP per capita is $46,344, and the average life expectancy is 81.52 years. It ranks 17th in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. The black slaves in Britain mainly came from West Africa, such as what is now Guinea. Its 2022 Human Development Index ranking is 141. The 2021 GDP per capita is $1,000, and the average life expectancy is 62 years. Ranked 109th in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. Number 1, Portugal. Between 1514 and 1866, Portuguese ships sold 3,894,056 black slaves. In 1441, a Portuguese expedition looted 10 black Africans near Cape Brown and brought them back to Lisbon for sale, which was the beginning of the slave trade in Europe. In 1576, the Portuguese established Fort San Miguel as a base in Luanda Bay. Since then, black slaves south of the mouth of the Congo River have been directly trafficked to the Americas from here. and it has gradually developed into one of the slave trade centers in Angola and Congo. Portugal controlled the slave trade in the 16th century, the Netherlands for most of the 17th century, and England in the 18th century. Due to British diplomatic pressure, Portugal, along with other European powers, explicitly banned the transatlantic slave trade in 1836. Slavery in the Portuguese colonies of Africa, however, was not abolished until 1869, and Portuguese, near-slavery contract labor in their colonies continued into the 20th century. The so-called contract workers were actually slaves because they signed a piece of paper without knowing what it was. In most cases, they were not paid, and few returned home after the contract period ended. For now, Portugal, its 2022 Human Development Index ranking is 40. The 2021 GDP per capita is $23,600 and the life expectancy is 82.29 years. Ranked 56th in the 2022 Global Happiness Index. As the source of the black slave trade in various countries, it was mainly West Africa, such as now the Democratic Republic of Congo. Its 2022 Human Development Index ranking is 176. Its 2021 GDP per capita is $420. The average life expectancy in 2020 is 60.97 years. Ranked 127th in the 2019 Global Happiness Index. Now that we have entered the 21st century, there are still slave or near-slave systems and various unfair social phenomena. We need the joint efforts of human beings to eliminate these darkness and correct the mistakes made in the past.